I have a whole introduction and I don't even know how to start it because I'm too busy being like, I'm talking to Anairis.
It's
Oh
okay.
my goodness. Hello there, fellow anime enthusiasts. I'm Brianna Lawrence, fandom editor over at the Mary Sue, and I'm collaborating with my pals over at Funimation for this Women's History Month series of interviews. Last week, I got to talk with Monica Rael, and this week, I'll be talking with Anairis Quinones. Can I ask everyone a question before we start? Have you ever cheered so loudly over a casting announcement that you scare your cats? Just me, huh? Well, um, let's just say that I had to apologize to my fur babies over my reaction to seeing Mirko from My Hero Academia being voiced by a woman of color in the dub. Anairis is also a certain gym leader and a certain franchise about catching a mall or something like that. Yeah, I may have had to apologize to my cats again when Pokemon Twilight Wings announced that Anairis was going to play Nessa. Anairis is also my comfort anime series, Corymia, and she's in that one Titan-sized anime that I might go back to if my heart can take it. It probably can't, but I think I'm gonna try anyway. This is the part where I try to be as professional as possible to introduce Anairis to everybody, but I'm gonna be real with y'all. I'm really excited about this interview, and I hope you guys are too. So let's check it out.
You know, I feel like I've had all this success in quarantine that it's kind of hard to process things most times. And I feel like I
Yeah,
probably will process it more like once we're out of quarantine and I get to do cons more often and I get to see the impact more. But even
in
these little
person.
moments are like, they mean a lot to me. So thank you.
Oh, that. Thank you for being here. So first things first, how did you discover anime?
Oh gosh. Well, before I really knew about anime, I really loved Pokemon. Like that was my number one thing.
Mm-hmm.
I think I kind of watched Yu-Gi-Oh, but I was more into collecting the cards because I wanted to bond with my cousin because my cousin didn't really talk to
Them
me.
cousins.
Yeah, my cousin was like he only cared about Transformers, Spider-Man, and Yu-Gi-Oh. And I could at least agree with the Spider-Man and Yu-Gi-Oh, so I used to collect the cards all the time, and I didn't know how to play, but I was like, oh, look at these pretty cards, they're mine. Um, so those were like my two earliest anime, and I was always into anime-inspired cartoons like Teen Titans and
Teen Titans.
Airbender. Those two were my favorite. I thought they were so cool, and I couldn't like put my finger as to why I liked them so much. I guess until I got into anime, like it was because I'm a weeb. I was a weeb. But
I don't know anything about that.
yeah, what? Yeah, I'm not a weeb.
No.
But my gateway anime was probably Digimon, strangely enough, because I got into it when I was like 8 or 9, and I was obsessed with it. I was watching all the seasons, and when I got to the fifth season, which at the time I think they were only on like episode 14 in the dub, I was like, no, I want more. What do you mean it's only up to here? And so I hunted down more, and I found the subs for it, and so I started watching it subbed. And from there, I was like, oh, this is
There's a whole world.
there's a whole world. And I got into like Cardcaptor Sakura, Sailor Moon, um, what the heck else did I get? Bleach. I was all over the place at the beginning. But that's how my journey started, and yeah.
That's I was talking to someone else. I was talking to Monica Rael, and it was like
Yeah.
you discover it on TV. No one really tells you what it is, but
Yeah.
you just start watching, and then you find out there's more, and then you
Uh-huh.
just go down a rabbit hole, and suddenly you're buying everything and watching everything.
That's
And
literally what happened because I remember I used to rent VHSs of the Sailor Moon movies from my library, and as I figured out that you could like buy merchandise and like buy the DVD,
yeah,
I used to pay like $30 for the volumes, like 4 episodes only. Kind of a ripoff back then, but I was like, yeah, this is good stuff.
that's yes. I think I wrote about a post that was like, God, I remember spending like way too much money on Dragon Ball Z VHS tapes that were $30 individually for 3 episodes.
Huh?
and you get all of them, and then you just look at your collection like 10 years later and you're like, what have I done?
Because like now they sell a whole series for like $30 or less.
I
And
know.
it's like, dang, feels bad. I didn't need to do this, but
You
oh
can
well.
watch it streaming like an hour after it airs in Japan, and you're like,
I know, you don't have to do any of it.
played myself. That's okay. It's
It's
fine.
okay. I didn't know.
What is it about anime that draws you to it?
I think um I think it's how character driven the stories tend to be.
Yeah,
Um
that's true. Yeah.
that's my favorite thing, and my first love actually, it wasn't acting, I think it was writing. And because I'm a writer, I'm a very character driven writer. And so I really love seeing complex stories and like these really amazing emotional journeys that the characters go through. Um, and just seeing that over and over in different anime, like that was so satisfying to me.
Yeah.
And yeah, that's like maybe my number one thing. But the other thing that comes to mind is I think whenever I watch anime, I feel like there's so much passion in it from
Mm,
every step of the process, like whether it's animation, sound design, even the dubbing process itself, like everyone is so passionate and you feel that, regardless of what if you're watching subbed or dubbed. And I think it's really neat to see and feel, and I don't think you
that's awesome.
quite get
Yeah.
that from anything else.
Everybody, I feel like everybody who works on anime is an anime fan.
Yeah, most times. I mean, I am, like I was really a fan before getting into voice acting. So
Yeah. And that you can tell. Yeah, you're right. Because I've been watching anime for years, and my wife and I will watch like it's funny because she's like, I don't like sports, but I love sports anime
yeah, I'm the
because
same.
it's and she's like, because it's so you get to get inside the character's head and learn everything, and it's so passionate,
Exactly.
and like the animation's passionate and the dialogue is passionate, and like you listen to things from like the creators and they're so into what they created, and that's so inspiring. I'm a writer too, so it's like I love hearing other writers who actually like what they're writing.
Yeah, no,
Like you actually like your job and you love what
it's
you
so
do.
cool. It's really cool. Yeah.
uh, what inspired you to become a voice actress? How did you get started?
Well, I always loved acting even when I was a kid, but I was also a very shy kid. A shy kid who moved a lot. So I never felt completely comfortable in a place to be able to just go to the theater community and just act. Like most times I just
Oh,
kept to myself because I was super shy. And so I used to have a tape recorder and I would report the weather to myself.
oh
And I
my
would play it
god.
back all the time. That's the earliest like voice acting I remember doing. And I also used to like film myself doing interviews, like with Oprah.
Oh
So I
my
used to
god.
always do like this stuff like on camera or with tape recorders, or even just to myself where I used to reenact scenes from Harry Potter as Hermione Granger because I just love
Oh,
things. So I did all these little things, and I guess I got very used to acting in a vacuum, which is kind of what voice acting feels like most times.
yeah.
So I got introduced to voice acting more so with anime. That's when I started recognizing voice actors, and the one anime that really introduced me to voice acting was Fullmetal Alchemist, the 2003 version, because Brotherhood was
Oh, yeah, yeah.
um, and I was in love with that anime because everything about it to me is perfect. The story, the animation, the characters, like everything is so good. And I love that dub so much. And I used to do like little impressions of the characters all the time. And for the Conqueror Shambhala movie, Laura Bailey was talking in the commentary track for that about her process and how when she approached the character Lust, she wasn't just doing a sexy voice, right? She was
Hmm.
considering like what her motivations were, like what is it? Like trying to figure it
Yeah.
out. And I thought that was so interesting because it's like, oh, it's not a cookie cutter personality. Like you actually go into the whole psychology of this character. That's
Right. Yeah. The character driven, as you said earlier.
exactly.
Yeah.
I thought that was awesome. So
Can I just say, I love that you actually like attribute like doing tape recordings of yourself and all of that as part of your like like story to voice acting, because I think that's super important to like
Yeah.
include everything you did as a kid that led up to, like, even if you think it's silly, it's like it's still part of what led you to what you're doing right now. I think
No, I
that's
agree.
awesome.
Yeah, no, I think when I was my parents told me that like when I was a kid, like a baby, right? I used to hum all the time. That was the thing I did. And so they thought I was going to be a singer, and I did sing, but I guess like I was always very used to using my voice as a kid. So natural performer, but also a very shy performer, and
There
then
you go.
opened up. But yeah, but Laura Bailey, was I think the main inspiration there, and from there, I looked into online voice acting communities,
Mm.
and I kind of fostered the passion for voice acting through just doing it as a hobby. And I did that from like 11 or 12 years old till like I was 18. And then it became a side
Wow.
gig for me that I juggled with my day job and with school at the time. And I did that for a few more years, but I didn't really make the shift to do anything professionally because I was afraid. I think I was afraid of change. I was afraid of leaving my family because I lived in Florida
Mm.
at the time, and you can't get any voice acting work there. Um, and I was also afraid of my talent not being enough due to the color of my skin because I was
Oh.
growing up.
Mm.
Black voice actors in general were basically non-existent. You had Phil Lamar and Cree Summer, but they were
Yep.
anime.
Right. So you
So
wonder if there's a place for you in
exactly.
that space. Yeah.
Yeah, and that held me back for a really long time. And then I remember seeing Danny Chambers getting cast as a lead, and she wasn't playing a black character. She's just, playing
An anime character.
an anime character.
Yeah.
And I thought that was very interesting, but that was only one person. So I still felt a little hesitant until I booked Kimono Friends, and I booked Kimono Friends while living in Florida, which doesn't normally happen, to be honest. Like you don't
Right.
really have
Right.
the area to book anything. But it was like a one-off character, so I flew in to do it and then came back and still kind of stayed where I was until I booked Ruby. Uh, and at that point, I was like, okay, I
It's
feel
time
like
to do this. This
all
is
over here, so let me just
yes.
go. And here I am.
That's real though. That's yeah. And that's why it's so important to have more like black voice actors and actresses and just in
Mhm.
every industry, honestly, because as we see more people of color, more black people in like these nerd spaces, it inspires others to jump in and do it too, because that hesitation is real. Like if you don't see anybody who looks like you just assume that it's not for you. You're like, oh, okay, never mind. I mean, I really want to do it, but I don't want to be the only one. I'm scared, so I'm not going to try.
Yeah, I mean, because for me, like I knew of other black voice actors who were aspiring, like I was, right? And
Mm-hmm.
I knew of some that actually made the leap, but then they weren't really doing anything. They were kind of
Mm.
like, one-off characters, or playing black characters all the time. And I recognize that. Even from the outside looking in, I recognize that. And that terrified me because I felt like I was good, but I wasn't sure if that was enough. And so
Mm.
I kind of became obsessed with being like I worked super hard. Like I was auditioning all the time for like indie projects. I was just constantly trying to learn and learn and learn, and I guess be competitive because I feel like, or I guess I felt like I had to be 10 times better than anyone else to even get
And
an
they tell us that. They straight up tell you if you're like a black person, especially a black woman, they're like, you have to try like 10 times, 50 times harder than everybody else. You just have to. And
opportunity.
so you're like, when do I hit that number that you're talking about that I'm
Yeah,
trying at? And I knew this interview was going to be like this. Like, oh man, because this is important to touch on. It's Women's History Month. We just got a Black History Month. This is totally a discussion that has to happen because
yeah,
it's absolutely true.
yeah. And like I feel like for me, even now, I still feel like I have to work 10 times harder,
Mm-hmm.
Like even with the success that I've had so far, it's like natural. Feel like most people would naturally be like, "Oh yeah, I've made it," with everything I'm doing it. I can relax. but I don't feel that way. I feel like I still
I
have
think,
to work.
yeah, I wholeheartedly, yes. Because you're like, you feel like once you relax, you're going to lose it.
Yeah.
So, whew, yes. I'm sorry. I was like, yes, that's exactly how I feel too.
I'm sorry.
No, do not apologize for necessary conversation. Like, this is exactly why I wanted to do interviews like this, especially during Women's History Month. It's important to talk about, and it's extremely valid. My work Slack keeps going off, and I have to keep telling it not to. Since we are celebrating Women's History Month, who are some women who inspire you? Real or fictional, either one.
So when it comes to voiceover, first two people that come to mind is Laura Bailey and Trina Nishimura.
Yes.
Laura Bailey I always admired because she's done everything. She's gone from doing anime to video games to cartoons. Like she does everything, and she has this amazing range. And I think her having that kind of range and just being able to be so versatile in what she does, I always wanted that for myself. So I guess instead of looking up to somebody like Cree Summer, I ended up looking up to her because I guess I wanted to be the black version of that, you know? There wasn't really a black, or I couldn't really think of a black actress that was that crazy versatile like that because, you know, we're already so obsolete as it is. So she was very much inspiration for, like, I guess the blueprint, like how I approach acting and the goals I have for myself. And Trina Nishimura, I always loved how she handled like emotional scenes. I remember her performance in Evangelion and the way that she went so feral in Evangelion. I never heard a woman ever do that before.
Yes.
I thought it was so cool. It was like some Dragon Ball stuff. I thought it was freaking
we can have those emotions. We can be that angry. We can do it.
Exactly. And sound cool doing it. It's not like
I know.
It can sound cool. And so, and you know, and I'm sure that when it comes to Mirko especially, that is someone I'm very much going to be referencing because
yes. Oh my gosh.
I very much fell in love with screaming and like expressing myself through screaming because of her. And so now to be able to play Mirko, who we know what's coming up for her, it's like
yes. I read the manga, so I'm like, I can't wait for people to hear this woman on screen because she is everything, and she gets to have those like scream, ferocious, badass, cool woman moments. And it's like, all the people who haven't read the manga, I'm like, you are in for such a treat when we get there, and you get to hear it in person. It's gonna be amazing.
Yeah, no, I'm gonna make sure I'm ready for it too. Like I'm sure.
I think you got.
I'm like ready to go sicko mode, you know.
I'm like, I might be slightly biased as a fan, but I think you got it. I think you're gonna, man. That's like that moment because Twitter went nuts, and I'm like, Mirko's a woman of color. Yes.
Oh.
yes. I was so, and I've never seen so many people react to someone who had like a few handfuls of dialogue, and I'm like, yeah, but guys, trust me, it's worth it. It's
like, oh, you're overhyping her. No, this is the exact.
No, we're not hyping her enough. More hype for her.
But two other people though.
Yeah.
Actually, just one person. My mom probably.
I
have to say because she's such a hard worker, and she is very much she encompasses tough love for me. Like she is tough, but she's also super empathetic. And I think somehow I've managed to adopt that, you know. So I think she's a really big inspiration with how she approaches life and how she.
That's awesome.
In life, so yeah.
I think we already touched on this, but I'm gonna just say it anyway because I think it's amazing. I saw your tweet about the impact of Corymia because the main cast is primarily made up of POC. That hit me real hard, which I've already covered why that hit me real hard. And I didn't even realize it until I saw your tweet, and I was like, wow, like everybody is a POC, and like in an anime, like I never ever thought I would see a hugely diverse cast like that for an anime, and it was there and with all their pictures, and I was like, wow, I've been watching anime for 20 some years, and it was just amazing. what does it feel like to be part of a cast like that, especially a cast that all of us like love? I love that series, and so many people love that series so much.
I think, I feel the same way because, like I grew up watching anime for so long, and one anime that I was really looking forward to at least seeing a diverse cast for was Michiko and Hatchin, and that cast isn't as diverse as you would hope it to be.
Yeah, yeah.
But fast forwarding to now, with Corymia, you have such a diverse cast, and it's not even because any of the characters are necessarily POC, right? It's just
Right.
there because why not?
Mm-hmm.
And I think it's pretty amazing to see just how easy it is to have diversity, honestly.
Yeah, yes. It's not difficult, actually. Yeah. It's very easy.
And you can have, existing, I guess, more veteran talent, as part of a diverse cast, or even new talent. We have so many new cast members that are kind of new to voice acting, or new to anime, mostly. Even the lead, Marissa Duran, she's completely new. I think she only did Walla before this.
Oh, wow.
And it's super cool to see because, especially in an anime as honest as this, you get to see such interesting sides of everyone, new and veteran. And it shows that, POC can kill it. They don't
exactly
like ponies. They don't got to be your black person, your Spanish person, whatever. They can hit any emotional beat you want them to.
Exactly that. And just a series like that has such like honest issues. Like there's an episode about feeling the amount of insecure messages in that series, and the fact that it's like POC saying these lines.
Yeah,
it's just incredible to me. And it's like I already watch it sub, and then I go back and I watch the dub, and so it's like, well, I'm just gonna cry again for like the second time. But now it's like, but I know it's like a POC voice behind it. It's like, God, it's really hitting me very hard that there's this series, and it's so slice of life and normal. Like it's high school. That's what kids feel like in high school. It's like, yes.
Yeah, we can do the anime sound too. It's okay. And it's cool because not only our main cast is, I'm pretty sure all POC, but we also have our side characters. I think the majority of them are also POC, and also Walla Group is also majority POC. So it's just majority POC all around, which is pretty neat.
That's amazing. So I'm getting the message to wrap it up real quick. So I'm just going to do one last quick question. I'm not sure if you realize it, but you are definitely inspiring other women who love this industry, myself included. What advice do you have for future voice actresses and female creatives looking to break into the industry?
Even if you don't see yourself in the industry that you're currently interested in, you should go for it anyways. I think I was afraid for so long that, it took me so long to get here, but now that I'm here, I've gotten to do such amazing things, and, you can let fear hold you back, but I think if it's meant for you, it'll find its way to you, so don't resist so much, and just keep working hard. Believe in yourself more than anyone else, even when people doubt you, even when people say that, you're not enough, even if you're, not even getting as much work as your other peers, just keep going at it. I promise that, if it's meant for you, it'll come for you, and hard work is very much enough.
I love that. Thank you so much for taking the time to chat with me. I have loved doing this interview so much, and I wish you well in everything you do.